Welcome to Dogsthorpe Infant School Launchpad.
This is your captain speaking. We've been cleared for departure.
Okay, Eddie, start the countdown.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Let's go.
This podcast is brought to you by Eddie Edster, the Dogsthorpe Infant School Wellbeing Dog.
Welcome back to Eddie's Launchpad. It's the Dogsthorpe Infant School podcast for parents, teachers and schools. Thank you so much for joining us and choosing us. Welcome to you all. Wherever you're listening, you are more than welcome. And we hope that you'll find some great ideas that you can use to teach and educate the children that you have contact with. Whether you're a teacher, whether you're a parent who's homeschooling, whether you're just a family who like to have fun together. That's good, because you can learn together through just playing and having fun. So many things. If the COVID pandemic taught us anything, it's all that we can just sit out in the garden when it's nice, or sit in the living room when it's wet, and we can just learn together. And that's the amazing thing about all we do on Eddie's Launchpads. Now, we often feature STEAM, that's science, technology, engineering, arts and maths subjects on this podcast. You know that. And we often feature STEAM workshops for schools and for parents who teach at home. Now, one of the leading educators in the field of STEAM teaching is AmazeLab. A leading innovator in STEAM education, AmazeLab makes STEAM subjects relevant to everyday life, and it make them fully accessible to schools and families around the world. And we'll talk about that a little bit later on. Now, AmazeLab have been on the Launchpad before, but we thought we'd get them back on because they're a science teacher, they're a STEAM lead, they're STEM ambassadors, graphic designer team. They aim to inspire children and young people to discover, interact and enjoy STEM subjects, developing a lifelong passion and leading to STEM-based careers, hopefully. And there are so many out there that the opportunities for young people, don't listen to the ones who always try and pour cold water on what this world is like. There are opportunities out there, young people, and there are jobs that you can do where it doesn't feel like a job anymore because you just have fun, just being and doing what you like doing best. And that's where STEAM and STEM come into play. Now, as I say, we've had AmazeLab on the Launchpads before, but we thought we'd invite them back onto our show to give us all an update, because we've picked up a few more listeners along the way since they was on the show just over a year ago. So we welcome back onto Eddie's Launchpads the amazing AmazeLab.
Hi everybody, it's absolutely brilliant to be here. Thank you so much for having us.
Now, could you just remind us about what you offer and all you do?
Oh, wow, yeah. And that seems to be growing as well, like your listeners, which is absolutely amazing. So ultimately, we are an education resource provider in all things science, technology, engineering, the arts and maths. So we use the arts to make these subjects accessible, to make them fun, to make them creative, and hopefully make them nice and memorable. So one day we may be running a workshop in a school or in a community group or with an organisation. Another day we might be writing educational resources that can become activity packs, or we've probably written educational resources where you don't know that we've written them because they've been for another organisation. We might be then doing teacher training and continual professional development. Oh, lots and lots of things. Or we might even be helping a Brownie group to achieve their science badges. So yeah, a wide variety of things, but ultimately at our core is making educational resources.
Folks, I went on and looked at what they were up to recently, and the amount of work that they do and the fun that they have with the children are just incredible. And your work is spreading out. Before we started the show, you were sharing, as we were catching up with all the latest news between ourselves, you are now spreading out across the world.
Yes, yeah, we are. We're based in South Yorkshire. just off junction 36 of the M1, but that's just a base. We operate remotely, so might run in-person workshops in our local area, but we do travel as well. We go over to Liverpool at least once a month. You'll find us at Media City at Salford, or we've been all over. Or even, beyond that, we've been to Liverpool, Birmingham, quite a few times as well, up to Edinburgh. But yeah, our resources have been to Brazil, they've been to Jamaica, they've recently gone to Cambodia. We work really closely with an educational network in Australia. So even though we're based here, it's quite, just amazing when you see your resources pop up somewhere a little bit unexpected. We should start a map of the world and see where people use them and just find out where they end up. Because that's the power, really, isn't it, of online resources and being able to email things over. Saying that things did go in a very large shipment over to Jamaica recently. They went in lots and lots of boxes ready for schools to use over there.
Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it, about the internet and all that it offers when you have online ideas and things that you can share. And I'm guessing, I know for a fact from our demographic that most people who go on searching for the sorts of things that you offer and that we offer at Dogsthorpe Infants start off as a search because they've got a little idea, but then it leads on to other things. And I'll give you a little idea of that, listeners. The other day, Mrs. Waters was sitting with me, and we were looking through the stuff that's online, trying to get ideas for the Launchpad and stuff. And she came across an experiment where somebody put light bulb in milk, and the light bulb lit up. And she said, "How does that work?" And I said, "I have absolutely no idea." And for the next half an hour, we went round, skirting around and just watching videos, including your own that you offer on YouTube, just watching these things thinking, how do they do that? And that's the whole crux of it, isn't it? It's all about making science and technology fun.
Oh, it is. And we need, and it's that curiosity as scientists. We like to ask questions. We're forever curious. We are honestly learning something new every day. The world never stands still. Even as engineers, if you speak to some of the top engineers, I had the absolute pleasure of working with the Bloodhound land speed record team on some of their resources. And their engineers, the way that they solved problems and asked questions, and they even ended up with a little plastic water bottle on the side of this amazing record-breaking car that was like a rocket on wheels, but that solved a problem, something so simple. Oh, yeah, it's absolutely fascinating. And now we think, how do we do that? How could we make that better? Even the amazing young people that we work with, you might be halfway through a workshop and somebody does something and you think, we should have done it like that. But sometimes it just needs those fresh eyes. But then that's what makes it so exciting, that you see those young people do it in a slightly different way to what you did, but it has brilliant results. You think, wow, I often say, I'm just in such a privileged position. I get to work with all these hundreds, thousands of young people. And when I'm in a classroom and I look out, I think I do not know who I've got in front of me. It's absolutely fascinating to see what these people will become in the future. We could have the first person to set foot on Mars. They might find a cure for a horrible disease. We just don't know who we're working with, and I find that just awe-inspiring, really.
Absolutely. And we've got, because we work with infants, they come in with all sorts of ideas what they want to be, from a pop star to an astronaut, and we're always saying, why should parents or other people laugh when a child says, I want to be an astronaut?
Yeah,
why does it have to be? Why does it have to be part of science fiction? Why can't it be? I'm sure that Tim Peake must have said at one point when he was growing up, I want to be an astronaut. And I wonder whether some people laughed. And he is.
Probably.
And he is. And I think he's hoping to be again, isn't he? He's hoping to go back.
The European Space Agency have just recruited. Anybody could apply. Obviously, you did have to meet.
Of course.
But anybody could have applied. The opportunities are out there. Last summer, we went on a massive nationwide tour with the UK Space Agency. There are over 200 different careers within the UK space industry. Fascinating, from being a nutritionist to a doctor to a space lawyer to an artist, doing the illustrations of some of the projects that they are doing. You know, I will have told you before, but my hero is a lady called Helen Sharman. She's clearly had a humongous influence on my career. Even though I'm not an astronaut, I adore space, but Helen was a lady from Sheffield who was a chemist. I am a woman from Sheffield who was a chemist. And I remember being in primary school in a porter cabin at Coit Primary School in Chapeltown, Sheffield, and Helen Sharman blasting off the Mir space station. And that had such a huge influence on my life. So even though I don't necessarily work within the space industry, I've really followed in her footsteps, and she's been such a huge inspiration to me. So yeah, never let people put you off. And again, there'll be all these young people will be doing jobs that we could only imagine, or you know, we don't even know what they're going to be yet.
Absolutely.
I met somebody fascinating where they were developing vertical landing in drone ports in new housing estates. How amazing is that? I didn't even know that that was happening, but that was currently somebody's job who I met at a science conference. So you just never know, do you? Keep going and being inspired. And again, you might invent something brand new as well that's going to be of a betterment to all of them.
Now, what I love about the resources that you do, it impacts on me because of all sorts of things. I mean, yes, the videos are wonderful and fun, and you feel like after you look at it, you think, I'm going to have a go at that. I want to have a go at that. But when I was at school, yes, folks, I'm going on about it again, which was many decades ago. Science lessons were very, very boring. I think the most excitement you got was the fact that every table had a burner on it, but you was never allowed to touch it until you was told to do it. And then they might get a test tube out if you was lucky. But more often than not, we was just drawing test tubes and drawing experiments. It was so dry and boring. And the one thing that I can remember while I was at secondary school was together as a class, we built a hot air balloon out of balsa wood, tiny strips of balsa wood and tissue paper, listeners. And we built this, and it was quite large actually. And he got a little burner, the science teacher got a little burner, and he said, what we're going to do is we're going to heat this up and it's going to float into the air. And we built it, and we got the burner, and we all went out into the playground, and it magically rose, and we was all cheering, and then it burst into flames and fell to the playground. It burst into flames. Luckily, we didn't send anybody up in it, folks. We're all right. We're all safe. But it all came down in tissue paper and burning balsa. But do you know what? That was so much fun. And he said, what made it go up? And we went, yeah, hot air. You know, hot air rises. And we got the science lesson. But it was all done in a fun way. So we got away from the chalkboard test tube drawings and the boring, dry way that often it was presented to us into a fun way. And that's what I love about the resources that you and people like Atomic Tom that we have in school. They make science come alive.
Oh, definitely. I've always been such a practical learner. I've always really liked doing things that are hands-on. And where else in the school can you do that? Maybe in like technology or food tech, but science is so unique. And I'm of such a strong belief that you should embrace that. When I work, I've worked in primary, secondary, and post 16. Now, so I work full time for AmazeLab, so I still get to be a teacher, but in many, many aspects of life. But I came from STEM industry as well. I used to work in veterinary practice, so I thoroughly enjoyed, probably boring the kids with how I used to use all this knowledge in my job role every single day. But there's no way. But I've been in trouble many times in school. Luckily, not for setting people on fire, but it'd be like, Mrs. Briggs, why are you playing the Avengers music so loud? Because I used to do Avengers physics. Mrs. Briggs, why can we hear your pupils acting as particles from down in the atrium? Mrs. Briggs, why is the Christmas music on so loud? But we used to have an absolutely amazing time. And obviously, again, the main core of that is learning. Everything that we do at AmazeLab is learning. We learn, we do curriculum-linked workshops in many, many schools, but we like it to be memorable and fun. And it breaks down those barriers as well, that we're problem solving, it's hands-on, and that everybody can get involved, which is just absolutely brilliant. And I think that's a unique aspect of science. And obviously, there are so many different roles in the science industry. You know, even just from working in veterinary practice, one day I'd be writing reports, one day I'd be in a lab, one day I'd be in radiography, one day I'd be in surgery, one day I'd be in hydrotherapy. So there are just many, many roles and that suit lots of different people and their skills. And obviously the subject knowledge is so vast as well. But oh no, I love things being fun and practical. And yeah, it might get a bit messy, but as long as it's nice and safe, and we tidy it all up at the end, and it all comes back to looking how it did before. But I think that's just the absolute beauty of being a science teacher, is being able to do practical experiments. It's that awe and wonder, isn't it, of seeing those young people's faces is just again, what a treat.
Yeah. And all of that, whether that is, putting Smarties in and making the colours and all that all that, whether it's just that, doing that with an infant, grandparents, if you're stuck with an idea, you don't have to go out with them. You don't spend lots of money. Go on and get ideas that AmazeLab and other folk who come on our show, go and get little ideas off the internet and just have a go. Whether it's over the kitchen sink, it doesn't matter if you make a bit of a mess, it'll soon clear up. And your child will learn as they have fun. And that's the whole point of it. And I'm encouraged now when I look at what schools are doing, not only across our city, but across the country and hopefully across the whole world. It's getting the children away from the boring way that it used to be 20, 30 years ago to where it was very, very presented, very, very dry. And if you hadn't copied everything down off of Blackboard 2, by the time he's got to wipe off Blackboard 1, it just got so boring and it was so dry. And if I'd have had at school the sorts of things that our present children have now, I don't know where I would have been in regard to science, because that all of that stuff excited me. It was just presented in a way that I couldn't really appreciate. So hopefully the amazing work that you do will present new people. And who knows? Who knows? There may be astronauts or science people out there. There may be children who will go on to maybe cure a cancer. Who knows?
Yeah,
we don't know, do we?
That's why we try to pop up at events where you might not expect it as well, because obviously, God, there's just amazing teachers in this world who are just absolutely brilliant. But obviously, not all children sometimes have access to like the workshops or the practical equipment. So we try and make sure that there is an AmazeLab workshop for everybody. So we've run a variety of workshops. So an example of that is we were at the Light Cinema and we ran a Ghostbusters workshop. It was actually quite high level chemistry learning linked to slime, but we had a great time. We go to things like big Illuminate the Gardens events in Sheffield, which is the bonfire and firework night. You might not expect to find one of our workshops there, but the organisers are fantastic and fund that for a family educational area. So we were learning all about rockets and we were blasting those off. So we try to pop up, we've done food festivals, we've done countryside fairs. We try to pop up in areas where people might not expect us to be, just to try and reach as many people as we can. To think, actually, I might quite like to do that or have a career in that, but they might not have experienced one of our workshops otherwise. We try to seek out these opportunities of where people might not expect to find us. And
you do school holiday clubs as well, don't you?
Yeah. So we're a company who operate all year round. So during the academic year, we do a mixture of teacher training, resource writing, physically running workshops in schools, and then during the school holidays, you'll find us in lots of different locations. We work with a number of organisations. I really enjoy doing the healthy holiday programs as well. I've worked with some amazing young people in Sheffield, Barnsley and Doncaster during Easter on that program, and they were absolutely super. Again, what a pleasure to work with them. So we'll run holiday clubs. I really enjoy working with the libraries. We have a fantastic response to our workshops in the local libraries. And again, these libraries are probably not what people imagine. They've become fantastic community spaces where we can link that learning all together.
I wonder if everybody, I'm sure they do, but everybody realises how lucky they are in your area to have you working in it, because I'm sure there are many other areas of England that would love to have their own AmazeLabs working, because you do incredible work. So big shout out to all the schools in your area. Long may your work continue. But for the people who are listening who aren't in your area, I know you can't come out and visit us, which is a great shame, but you can only do so much. But for the people who are listening, maybe not even in this country, maybe listening across Europe, across the world, where can people go to get some of your great ideas?
Oh yeah, come in. The best place to see everything is on the AmazeLab social media. You'll recognise our logo, which is a conical flask that has rainbow inside of it. So we like everything to be super colourful and creative. So if you look for AmazeLab, honestly, the best place to see all the pictures and what we're up to is via our social media pages. So things like Facebook, Instagram, we update those regularly. So yeah, or do drop us an email. We'd absolutely love to hear from you. And like I say, we can provide resources, so not a problem.
Well, as always, folks, if you're a bit confused, don't know what to do next, go onto the text of this podcast and you'll find a link that will link you to the amazing AmazeLabs, and you'll be able to make first contact with them. Makes them sound like they're aliens. Maybe I shouldn't use that. They're not. They're very, very friendly. They come in peace. They're here to help you in wherever you live. Let's get our children excited about our STEAM subjects, because we need to do that, because by doing that we can make learning fun. What's your, before you leave us, what you got planned for the future? More of the same?
Oh yeah, we've got hopefully we're going to be making some more educational resources that will be going to 5 different hubs across the UK. So that is very, very exciting. So that's with our Sparkbox project. We've got some exciting projects coming up where we actually work with Better Learners, Better Workers and Ambition Unlimited, where we actually look at local employers. So tomorrow I'm doing a workshop in a primary school in Sheffield, but we're bringing local employers in. And the idea is that, these young people might not know about these fantastic opportunities that are actually on their doorstep. So that's been a programme that we run all academic year. And yeah, more community workshops are coming up. So we keep going along, but yeah, looking out for exciting ones.
I'm
on the summer reading challenge as well, writing programs for the summer reading challenge.
Yeah, I'm guessing that it's just about just enough hands on deck to cover all of the work. It must be, it's nice to be so popular, but you have, I'm sure you do have to turn some work down, do you?
Yeah, I'll be honest, I think this summer holidays we probably could have filled it about 3 times over.
Yeah, you go, see.
Yeah, that's been really, really busy. But yeah, we do work with the team is growing. There's still myself and David at the absolute crux of it, but we do have an apprentice. We do work with another teacher. We work closely with university students, helping one another. So yeah, hopefully we can continue to grow the team in the future as well.
Well, give everybody our best wishes from Dogsthorpe Infant School. Keep up the great work. You're doing amazing work. You'll always have fans here that will be looking and visiting your social media pages. Listeners, get over to see the fantastic AmazeLab, and I'm sure there'll be something there for the children that you work with or that live with you. Let's get our children learning.
You have been listening to the Dogsthorpe Infant School podcast. Join Captain Dave and his co-pilot Eddie Edster, the well-being dog, on another Launchpad soon. Until then, always remember to be kind, be respectful, and most of all, dream, believe, and shine. Dogsthorpe Infant School is part of Hampton Academies Trust.